overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sale because right now, every order ships absolutely free. I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sale because right now, every order ships absolutely free. I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sale because right now, every order ships absolutely free. I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, just $14.
Live from Studio 6B on a Monday night, March 3rd, new month, new week, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. Glad you're in, everybody. Paul Nolan sitting right here to my left. He's going to have some news. Rick Delgado sitting right there to my right. He's going to have some news as well. Plus, what even is that coming up tonight at 9 p.m.?
Yes, 9 o'clock.
Thank you. I know the time.
Okay, cool.
Is there a
I'll see
hint?
you then.
I'm sorry?
I'll see you then.
Maybe. Is there a hint, if I stay that long, is there a hint that you'd like to give us on what even is that is about?
Yes. You know what? And after last week not being prepared with a hint, I have one prepared, strictly for this particular one.
What's it called? Redo?
No. It's, I'd say it's an homage.
Homage?
Homage.
An homage.
I wouldn't say anything's an homage. I wouldn't say it as a je ne sais quoi, and I wouldn't say homage.
Okay. There you go. An homage to something. All right, very
something.
Okay.
Something near and dear to you. Don't worry.
Near and dear to me? Don't tell me I'm going to find my way into this again.
Of course you are.
I don't know what you
Look
mean.
at the smile. It just cracked.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, God.
You know what? You should wear a suit.
Well, oh, man. How about Brian Glenn on Friday? Boy, did social media explode with that clip. I've never seen so many incoherent, hair on fire messages in the inbox of LFS6B in my life since I've done the show.
What did I miss?
All tagged on Brian's. He posted that clip.
Yeah.
Which is still funny. And so we got all the hair on fire people telling us how it's not funny and all the reasoning. And they just kept coming and coming and coming and coming, and they haven't stopped.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but that was funny. And it was brutal. And he wasn't the first one to say it. President Trump said it when the guy showed up.
Many people have said it. Yeah. And like you said, President Trump made mention of it even before they even got into the room.
Yeah. So
the idea that Brian somehow, come on, it's just so stupid.
Exactly.
So stupid. And the comparisons, it's just... I don't know. The left tries to, I don't know. They're just not very good at arguing. And they try to argue points. They pick the worst thing. It's like they want to compare apples and grapefruits instead of apples and apples. Well, Elon Musk doesn't wear. What? How is that your argument?
Yeah.
That Elon Musk doesn't wear a suit.
Right. Meanwhile, this guy who's supposed to be the leader of a country showing up to sign a deal to, kind of fortify his standing in the world and is the survival of his nation. He's got suits, but he'd much rather wear his sweatsuit.
Like I'm on the front lines deal,
right.
Whatever. Well, the social media was just ablaze with that clip of Brian yelling on the streets of Florida. You get a car, and you get a car, you get a car. You can put on a suit. So, but the arguments they make are just so mind-baffling.
Yeah.
Elon Musk, and I saw a couple others that I was like, what? How is that your argument? How is that your comparison? What are you talking about? It's not even close to the same thing. And the guy should be dressed. And of course, what we're seeing from President Trump now is a full court press on a pressure campaign like we've never seen. Taking it to really ratcheting it up about as high as you could ratchet it up on this minerals deal, and now cutting off all aid.
Yeah.
And saying no more. Zippo, good luck.
Dunsky.
And people who run around and say, oh, no, it's okay. They'll be okay with the EU. Yeah, you might want to look at a chart of the support given from all of the EU countries together and then what the U.S. has been responsible for before you say, yeah, no, they'll just be fine without you. And President Trump is playing a campaign of pressure now and a campaign of getting, again, and not to keep harping on the suit because we're, finding some comedy in it. But the idea is you show up here to speak to the most powerful man in the universe. You're not in just some other place that you'd go around the world.
Right.
You are in the place, the number one place, the special place. So you should dress as such. That's the point.
Yeah.
You're not running around some whatever, some dump somewhere asking for $50.
Two places you should always wear a suit: the Oval Office and your wedding. Other than that, I'll give you a pass.
Yeah.
Everywhere else.
I'll agree with that.
I would throw in
Obviously.
court. I would throw in court, because I've seen my cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
And he likes a nice suit.
These utes.
But the just hair on fire response to that clip was unbelievable. But what we're seeing from President Trump now is a ratchet, about as high as you can ratchet it up on a pressure campaign here.
Demanding an apology?
to see if there's even a deal to be had. And let's face it, we got to start asking questions at some point on when you look at this guy's behavior. And again, when you have people like Mark Thiessen writing this is not on Trump from the Washington Post, saying, yeah, this is all on Zelensky. And you have others saying, yeah, we've watched the whole 50 minutes, and you have to watch the whole 50 minutes. yeah, this behavior is something else. What's going on here?
Yeah, it's a guy backing out of a deal.
At some point, you have to ask yourself a couple questions. And I would start with offering one up tonight after watching a lot of the stuff. How do we decide if he's allowed to sign a deal? Is it possible that someone's telling him he's not allowed to sign a deal?
Oh,
Maybe he's not the end-all, be-all decision maker that we think he is. Is that possible?
that's a distinct possibility.
Well, did you guys see that article? It said that he met with anti-Trump Democrats who advised him to turn down the mineral deal with President Donald Trump shortly before he went to the Oval Office showdown.
Yeah.
Did you guys see all that?
Yeah.
We saw that. A lot of them have denied it. Susan Rice has denied it.
course
She,
they do.
for me, is culprit A. As I said, opening the show on Friday night, I think that's my opening sentence of the show was, I want to know who talked. Was it Susan Rice? Who was it? And then she came on MSNBC, I think, later on as we were on the air Friday, and used seemingly the exact same language that he used later on in an interview after he left the White House.
Yeah.
Security guarantees and this all stuff.
Yeah, and then we played that clip from Lindsey Graham, who warned him not to take the bait. And it wasn't the bait from President Trump. It was the bait from the people he was there with, the other senators and the other quote-unquote
Chris
decision
Murphy
makers.
and,
Right, the decision makers when it comes to Ukraine, which is, of course, I guess isn't Zelensky, is that, you know what, don't take the bait, but guess what? He didn't listen to Lindsey Graham. He listened to everybody else, and he went right along with their plan.
Yep.
And it all blows up in his face.
Chris Murphy has his hair on fire. But what's interesting about Chris Murphy is there was a clip that has surfaced again from 2014. And, well, let's make sure we have sound
I think
here.
it was
Yeah.
our
Let's just
role,
play this.
including
Yes.
sanctions and threats of sanctions, that forced, in part, Yanukovych from office. Now, the question is, what can we do to support this new government? There's going to be a lot of talk about an assistance package. With respect to Ukraine, we have not sat on the sidelines. We have been very much involved. Members of the Senate who have been there, members of the State Department who have been on the square. The Obama administration passed sanctions. The Senate was prepared to pass its own set of sanctions. And as I said, I really think that the clear position of the United States has in part been what has helped lead to this change in regime. So I know that there is merit in the claim that the United States sort of has these principles and then we selectively apply them. We get involved in certain places and then we don't get involved in other places. But I think if ultimately this is a peaceful transition to a new government in Ukraine, it'll be the United States on the streets of Ukraine who will be seen as a great friend in helping make that transition happen. This is really about supporting one of the biggest, most important countries in the Eurasian region, be able to determine for themselves what their future is. And it looks to people like this is the United States and Russia once again fighting, maybe not in military terms, but on economic terms in a country that we both care about. But really, ultimately, I think this is about us supporting the wishes of Ukraine. And, there is a U.S. interest here. We are in the middle of negotiating a new trade agreement with Europe. To my state, it's enormously important. We do 40% of our trade in Connecticut with Europe. If Ukraine is part of the European Union and thus is part of this new trade agreement with the United States, that could result in billions of dollars in new economic opportunities for the U.S. So we do have an economic interest in the Ukraine being part of the European Union, and we shouldn't be shy about making clear that interest.
Isn't it true that Yanukovych was elected for the first time in 2010 for one 5-year term? That elections were scheduled for 2015. The second point is, why is it okay for foreign ministers from other countries to show up during protest movements, let's say in Ukraine, like the foreign ministers of Poland and Germany, and support the protesters against the current government there? Wouldn't it be something similar to the foreign ministers of, let's say, Mexico and Canada showing up during the Occupy Wall Street movement and saying, yes, we agree that your government is corrupt? And the third point is, why isn't the West and America talking about the fact that a large or significant portion of the Ukrainian opposition right now is made up of far-right politicians, including from the party Svoboda, which openly is fascist and xenophobic, and they say that they don't want to join the EU because they consider the EU to be a bunch of gays and Jews, just as well as they say that they don't want to join the imperialist Moscow regime.
Let me take all those very quickly, one at a time. You're right. Yanukovych was elected, and I mentioned this before. I understand the difficult position here, which is that Yanukovych was elected, and we are not in the business of encouraging rebellions and revolutions on the streets against elected leaders, because we ultimately think that elections, as you mentioned, are the place in which you should settle your differences. The issue here is that Yanukovych lost his legitimacy to govern when he used force to try to break up these protests, and the United States.
Okay, so you get the idea.
The lies, it's just unbelievable. I mean, sociopath.
You get the idea with Chris Murphy bragging about successfully basically overthrowing Ukraine's government back then in 2014. Yeah. Now he sounds quite a bit different now. Quite a bit different now. We don't have time to play him now, and it's not even worth it. But it's the same thing as Bill Clinton. I have a clip from Bill Clinton back when he was interviewed with Piers Morgan. And it sounds a little different than all the Democrats you've heard in the last couple of days.
Yeah, he kind of sounds like a Russian puppet, doesn't he?
I guess if that's what we're calling it these days, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he sounds much closer to the guy who now is in the Oval Office as he was back then than what you're hearing from all of the hair on fire left media and trying to figure out how to deal with how to get a footing here on what Trump is doing, which is ratcheting this up to the point where let's just find out who's real and who's not. You want to try to go on and survive and live without us and not sign this deal? Let's see if you're really going to be committed to trying to do that. And that's what you're seeing from him. And I don't suppose he's going to take his foot off the gas for 1 second. All right, 13 past the hour. Just getting started. We're back right after this.
What was the clip?
Suit. Put on a suit.
Oh, the guy in the second row barking at him. You're talking
about the clip of him on our show.
On that show. Is that you? I'm like, I mean, I don't go out and oh my God, that thing. I don't have.
I'd like to see the clip. Did I see John Solomon and Mike Benz on?
Did he?
I don't know.
Mike Benz is, again, the one he did on Rogan was fantastic. Then he did the PBD podcast. It was just, he's the endless material he has. There's another guy going around, which I'm happy about, a guy named Jeffrey Sachs. I know he's controversial to a lot of people, but he's been an economist and been, a Harvard professor, and he's been around every DC president, and he's been around forever. He is really unloading truth bombs everywhere. Tucker had him on about, 4 or 5 days ago, if I remember correctly, and it was another, right on the money, just nailing it from that project for a new American century that the Americans started in the 90s, and, right from the destruction of, the Soviet Union, and, how the plans were in effect as soon as that happened. And it's just nonstop. I mean, I think Americans, for the most part, other than the goofballs with the I stand with Ukraine. What does that mean? You're not with America? Then go. Go, you putz.
Yeah, go fight up.
Right, that's the thing. They all then go. Stop talking about it.
Yeah, give you money, bring a flak jacket, and go.
Howdy,
short,
Rumblers. Man. I forgot we're in the chats. As Damon likes to say, chat. He doesn't say it as nicely as that.
That's as slow as you. Yes.
That's not slow. That was respectful.
Ticked off Patriot. Hello, Mr. AZ Mikey. Hello.
Chat.
What's going on? Who did Paulie call a putz? He called. Who did you just call a putz? I don't know.
Anybody with the
who
Ukraine
wants to,
flag in their
Ukraine flag in their profile.
Anybody wearing blue and yellow today?
Because none of them would actually go there.
So, Chad, I want to ask you guys,
Twixers.
if you guys are on Facebook, I'd like you to try to type in anything about the Maidan Revolution and tell me if your post stays. Every time I post about it and any kind of discussion regarding it's gone instantly.
All right, 17 past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Monday night, March 3rd. Brand new week, brand new month. Glad you're in. Slickster's here. Slickster, how are you?
How we doing, Big D?
How was your weekend?
Oh, it was interesting, but it was good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, very good.
In what way?
We were talking about the Brian Glenn appearance on Live from Studio 6B Friday night, and
that definitely went viral.
I mean, we didn't plan it. It just, Brian's got a good sense of humor.
It does.
Obviously, most people, I guess the crazies didn't think it was a funny topic, which I don't really get. But
who are the crazies now?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. The tens of thousands of messages I got tagged in,
really,
of responding to Brian. But meanwhile, it's like Brian was just being funny in the moment of us talking to him. It really wasn't even about. I mean, Zelensky was the whole suit thing in the Oval was the crux of obviously the, our interview with him. But by the time we got to the end there, when he was, did the whole thing on the street, we weren't even talking about the guy anymore. He was just taking it and applying it to, whatever. I mean, it was funny. But oh man, he posted it too. I didn't ask him to post it. He took the clip because he knew it was funny.
It was hilarious.
And posted it, and oh man, boy, all hell broke loose from there.
And then I remember you were watching that grown man that was crying on camera because of the question.
Oh God! I mean,
my goodness! I thought that was fake.
I'm sorry, but if you're a grown man and you think it's a good idea to take your phone, put it down, aim it at your face, and hit record, and you're going to cry to it.
My favorite part of that one was...
It's not a good idea. Just turn the phone off.
My favorite part was the guy's like, I'm sorry I'm crying here. Meanwhile, he goes back, edits, pauses, cuts back in, and then he's back to crying waterworks. Yeah. I'm sorry I had to turn the tears back on. Cut it out,
come on.
You're a ham bone.
Please.
And this guy's supposed to be a coach. I guess his name is Coach Mox or something.
Coach? What's he coach?
Yeah,
men how to not be men, I guess.
Yeah. Is that the class he teaches?
Way to go.
Charm school.
I mean, give me a break over a guy being asked why didn't. God, please.
What a puss.
So
Coach Mox, Coach Puss.
All right, 19 past the hour. Let's do some sports and news. We'll get into everything. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the promo code to use. Slickster's going to do sports in a little bit.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm not getting the Wi-Fi for some reason yet.
Okay. All right, we'll do sports later, maybe. Let's do some news. And here with the news is Rick Delgado. Mr. Delgado, what's going on?
Yeah, no problem. I was just laughing and reposting this UVP show that shows America's top suit expert and style investigator Brian Glenn. That's a nice post for him. Very funny stuff. Lots of great news going on, actually, and stuff that has nothing to do with Zelensky. Believe it or not, the first story I think I'm going to start off with has to do with the education department. As the education department, now remember, President Trump said to Linda McMahon, I want you to do your job so well as the education department secretary that you put yourself out of work. Well, even before she, I guess, gets in there and starts doing it, the education department sent an email to staffers on Friday saying if they quit by Monday night, which is tonight, they'll receive a $25,000 cash buyout. That's according to The Hill. Now, what's interesting is that if things were so great at the education department that there's no way they can cut, oh my goodness, then how could you send out an email that quickly and offer cash payouts if you know you don't, if what you're saying is you can't make any cuts anywhere? Obviously, they know they can. The email was first reported by Politico, sent by Jacqueline Clay, a chief human capital officer, giving employees until midnight tonight to make their decision. There's a one-time offer, it says, in advance of a very significant reduction in force for the U.S. Department of Education, according to Clay. The department did not answer when asked how many staffers have accepted the offer so far. And some employees are ineligible for the payout since those who have not yet been employed at the department for 3 years or have recently received a bonus or another award or got a student loan repayment benefit from the last 3 years said this is equivalent to a severance or about $25,000, whichever is less, according to Clay. And so that's what's happening.
I don't know which one you have, but I have some reporting on it too. It says, the push to gut the education department is part of the administration's broader push to scale down the federal workforce dramatically. Mr. Trump also offered this is for all federal workers, 8-month salary. So far, 75,000 have accepted that deal, or about 3% of the civilian workforce have accepted the deferred buyout. Meanwhile, McMahon has taken over the department that has $268 billion budget and 4,200 employees, which appears poised for a significant shakeup. Yes.
Yeah. And it says here, while complete elimination of the education department would take an act of Congress, it seems the agency will be slashed in other ways, as almost $1 billion in contracts have already been canceled. So there you have it.
Yeah, so the Democrats will be on judge chopping alert probably tonight to figure out where they can go to find one judge amongst however many district court judges there are to rule for the entire country, 330 million people. They'll find they'll go judge shopping and find someone who will try to put a stop to this.
Yeah. So
that'll be the next one.
Right. So there you have it from the education department. Now, segueing to New York City, this breaking news came out this afternoon. Breaking. Colin Rugg posted this. Head of FBI field office in New York resigns after the Department of Justice accused his office of hiding thousands of Epstein documents. This would fall under...
I did not... Huh? Yeah, let's get an update while you're doing this story. Yes. Give us an update on the Epstein files.
This would fall under I did not kill myself news, as James Dennehy says he was forced to resign in an email to the staff. He said late Friday... He says, I was informed that I needed to put in my retirement papers today, which I just did. I was not given a reason for this decision, but you kind of know why. Dennehy had previously told his office to dig in after Donald Trump was elected. What did he mean by that? I don't know. The resignation comes after AG Pam Bondi instructed FBI Director Kash Patel to launch an investigation into claims that the New York field office was hiding thousands of documents related to Epstein. Bondi said a source came forward claiming the field office had thousands of pages of documents. I repeatedly questioned whether this was a full set of documents responsive to my request, said Bondi, and was repeatedly assured by the FBI that we had received the full set of documents. Late yesterday, I learned from a source that the FBI field office in New York was in possession of thousands of pages of documents related to the investigation and indictment of Jeffrey Epstein. Despite my personal requests and repeated requests, the FBI never disclosed the existence of these files. When you and I spoke yesterday, you were just as surprised as I to learn of this new information, she said. Mm-hmm. So there you have it. That is the latest.
That sounds like last week.
What's the
update? Where are the files?
There is no update that I can see. I don't have access to those files, unfortunately. Okay. I wish I did.
I think I asked a question many months ago, and I think I updated it. How long is the rope that you're all willing to give here? Did you ever give me an answer on that?
I don't think I did.
Would you like to know?
I probably said maybe 3 months.
You said 3 months.
3 months.
Did I say 3 months?
You did say 3 months.
Okay, so
we're about 5 weeks in.
So January 21st?
Oh, the clock is ticking.
So March 21st is your 3 months?
I think so.
Okay, so about
fair.
18.
It started on the 20th of January. So
April 21st. April 21st.
Well, you know what? I guess you'd have to go from her day of when she was...
Mm-hmm. You have till May 1st if you say 30.
Approved, right?
Right, May 1st, we'll say.
Let's say May 1st.
That's
May Day.
Yeah.
I got till August 1st.
You got till August?
And then
That's because you have a crush. That's why.
Okay. 6 months and 3 months.
I think she's being a
What do you got, Big D?
What do you think, Paulie?
I'm going to stay with 6 months because I think there could be.
Were you offered a binder?
I was. I am an influencer. I'm up to
was his
1,800
Metamucil.
people on Twitter. I'm making a huge difference out there. One snarky post at a time.
Look at me, I got a binder.
That was a disaster.
All right, 26 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. We're back right after this.
I'm not enamored with her looks as Paul is.
So in the chat, who has been following Jeffrey Sachs and his breakdowns and where he's analyzed the entire geopolitical landscape over the last 50 years? He's done a phenomenal job. He was on Tucker recently. I'd like to know who in the chat has picked up on that. Otherwise, I will post it on my X page, on X. Is it called a page?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mary Smith defending me. Damon doesn't hate Delgado. The two of them get along just fine.
Hey, she's right.
Mary,
They get along famously.
what are you talking about?
The hell is she talking about?
Mary.
You watched the show, Mary?
Mary.
What the hell is she talking about?
Who is she defending me to? I want to know. I missed that. In the,
I don't know.
I always love these.
Wow.
You're
That.
in a mood.
Who was it? Who was it that
Somebody
let's go
tell you
back.
to wear a suit? What happened?
Let's go back and see who it was. Let's see who it was.
All right, Woodrow, you've been following.
Oh, here it is. Jamie R. Rose. Damon's becoming intolerable and is making faces in his hate for Rick Delgado. Are you aware of this?
No, I didn't know.
Kathy,
Were you making a face? Oh.
We'll try and make sure
Yeah.
to show them more often.
God, thanks, friend.
All right, Woodrow, I see you.
Keep
buddy.
everybody
10
on
years
their
in and
toes.
people still don't know what they're watching.
So if I go missing one day, you'll all know.
Mm-hmm. And I will make a face. Don't you worry. Child of the King, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Child of the King. Come on.
You have it slicked. I mean, it's supposed to be your job, but I'll do it.
Wow.
Man, this guy's rough tonight.
Well, didn't we name them the slick? We gave it a name, didn't we?
Yeah, but he's always running late on Mondays. He's got other responsibilities.
Okay, all
Pick
right.
up the
I'll
slack
come back to you
there,
at
bro.
9:45. See if you're ready.
Child of the King.
All right, Child of the King, $100 super chat. Hello, Patriots. I hope you all know that Zelensky was installed. He was just an actor, D-rated.
As in, nope, I'm not going to do it. Yep, he was a puppet, and he lived in Moscow for quite a while, and his idol growing up was always Putin. That's a true story. Documented, have receipts to show it. It's all such a show. By the way, we have 1.2 watching and only 239 likes. Let's rock that thing right now.
Yeah, that's
I just
a little
did
light.
just like that, 240.
I think they forget. You got to remind
Of
them.
course,
Paul.
you forget. It's easy. That thumb is hard to see.
It is hard to see.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Monday night. Brand new week, brand new month. Glad you're in, everybody. Wherever you're watching on social media, make sure you hit the like and subscribe or hit the thumbs up, whatever your platform you're watching on. Facebook, YouTube, X, Rumble, Getter, Truth, Kick. I think I got them all. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, follow, comment, just engage. That's what we're looking for, engagement, as we continue to try to grow the social media numbers. We appreciate you watching on social media. Slick's here. He's doing sports. Delgado's doing the news. Paul Nolan's going to do some news. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Busy week. Tomorrow night, State of the Union. Rav will have great coverage
Yep.
of the State of the Union speech tomorrow night. So make sure you stay tuned for that tomorrow. Delgado, you're off tomorrow.
I'm off tomorrow
and
night.
off Friday.
And I'm off Friday.
Yeah, what a week for you. Nice.
Be rocking, man.
Now, let's keep saying that so people don't think Tuesday and Friday that,
Right. You had something to do with
it. I taped up your mouth and threw it in the trunk of my car since Paul's not there anymore.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, let's do some more news. Then we'll do some sports with Slick. Delgado's got the news. What's going on?
All right. Well, iconic comedian Bill Murray was the talk of the internet all weekend. I don't know if you guys caught this on X. He joked that famed Watergate reporter Bob Woodward could have framed former President Richard Nixon because of his book about how John Belushi was completely inaccurate. He said this when he was talking to Joe Rogan on his podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. I believe we have that cut, right, Aaron? Let's go to that right now. Here is Bill Murray talking about Bob Woodward and his buddy, his pal, John Belushi as well. Cut number 3. Check this out.
When I read Wired, the book written by, Woodward, about Belushi, I read like 5 pages of Wired, and I went, oh my God, they framed Nixon. like, all of a sudden I went, oh my God, if this is what he writes about my friend that I've known, for half of my adult life, which is completely inaccurate, talking to like the people of the outer circle getting the story. What the hell could they have done to Nixon? I just felt like if he did this to my friend like this, and I acknowledge I only read 5 pages, but the 5 pages I read, made me want to set fire to the whole thing.
Jamie, see if you can
Those
find
5 pages, I went, if he did this to Belushi, what he did to Nixon is probably soiled for me too. I can't take it. And I know you say, well, you could have 2 sources and everything like that, but the 2 sources that he had, if he had them for the Wired book, were so far outside the inner circle that it was criminal, cruel.
Yeah. So there you have it. That clip was all over the place all weekend long.
There's plenty of evidence Bob Woodward was a paid asset of the CIA and Operation Mockingbird. I mean, it's clear as a bell. It's nice to hear some Main Street people talk about it, especially guys like Bill Murray, who everyone seems to love, and he doesn't seem to care. He's so above reproach, right? He's iconic. Everything he does, he's loved in it, and it's nice to have a voice like that. And everyone's so open on Rogan; no one cares. Right. Something about that area. Maybe it's the bourbon that he serves.
And what's also interesting about Bill Murray is that, like you said, he's kind of universally loved.
Oh, he is.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I know he does a lot of those things where he'll kind of crash a party or sit down at somebody's table, start eating their French fries. I know that's a famous one where he goes, your friends are never going to believe this. Yeah,
he'll just show up at someone's apartment party and do karaoke.
Right.
Yeah, he's definitely a rep.
Yep. Let me correct myself, since many are trying to tell me. Tomorrow is actually not officially a State of the Union. It's just a joint address to a joint, Congress. I was actually didn't realize that. I thought it was the actual State of the Union, but it's not State of the Union.
It's
actually just a
they
joint.
haven't announced it yet.
Yeah, but normally when is it? Like March or is it February?
It's just no. It's usually right now. It's usually about February, March. But it's just a joint session of Congress, which a lot of Democrats are now saying they're not going to attend. Chris Murphy, of course, embarrassing from Wethersfield, is one of them, and I'm sure many others will probably follow him. But it's not technically a State of the Union. House Speaker Mike Johnson invited Trump to make the address through a letter, writing, "It's my distinct honor and great privilege to invite you to address a joint session of Congress on Tuesday, March 4th. in the chamber of the U.S. House of Representatives to share your America First vision for our legislative future." So it's not technically the State of the Union. So
yeah, I was going to say, they usually make a bigger deal when it's going to be the State of the Union, and I really didn't see anybody talking about it. So it's probably going to happen probably in April at some point.
Yeah, you have to be sworn in for longer than I believe the time he's been sworn in for to actually make the State of the Union is the technical reason it can't be called that, I believe.
All right.
It
Good to
usually
know.
happens in January, so it's about a year from when they're sworn in.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So in essence, it is, but it's not.
Right.
They're putting a new face on it.
He's addressing the nation, but it's not officially State of the Union.
But this is basically what you're going to see is the same thing you would have seen, I'm sure. It'll be basically the same thing.
Right. And here's another clip of Bill Murray, you know, because we were talking about it just before that update there. And again, universally loved. He doesn't seem to fall on one side or the other, but he did have this to say about the recent presidential election. Here's cut 4. Check this out.
He's just such a different character than anyone that's ever been a president of the United States, I think. I think this is what this vote means, is that the country is dissatisfied with the way that Washington has worked for the last couple of decades. They're lazy, and they're about inhibiting the other side. They're not about working together at all. And it's sort of become such a national disgrace, a quiet national disgrace.
Yeah, so there he is talking about the recent presidential election of President Trump. And lastly, before we turn it over back to you, Damon, here's Elon Musk. I don't know if you guys caught this. He was also on Joe Rogan. Lots of interesting stuff. He had talked about it. Been trying to get through the entire thing. I don't know about you, Paul. I think you've been doing the same thing.
Yeah, I'm an hour and 30 into it.
Here's Elon explaining why he thinks he might be killed. Believe it or not. Like Paul said, it's kind of relaxed. They'll say just about anything there, and that's what they have the opportunity to do. Here's cut number 2. Check this out.
It's more than just insider trading. Like the insider trading stuff, like the stock portfolio stuff is quite trackable, but it's a lot more than insider trading.
The way they're acquiring wealth.
Correct.
And what other methods?
I mean, this is really going to get me assassinated. It's like I'm not lengthening my lifespan by explaining this stuff, to say the least. I mean, I was supposed to go back to D.C. How am I going to survive? This is going to kill me for sure.
Jeez.
So, in fact, I do think like it's like.
By the way,
I actually have to be careful that I don't push too hard on the corruption stuff, because it's going to get me killed.
Holy cow. I didn't see this clip.
That's strong.
He
doesn't want to talk about it.
No. He does, but I was actually thinking about that on the plane flight over here. It's like, if I push too hard on the corruption stuff,
if you can
people
get wavering in his breath.
Yeah.
Oh, hear the waver in his breath. I'm telling you, this
is real.
Taking on a monstrosity that people don't realize how absolutely, how endless the tentacles are. And they're coming from a million directions.
Right.
There's a million people with motive now to kill him.
Right. Yeah. And one of the last things he said at the end of that clip, he says, people will get desperate. And to shut this down, because they don't want to be exposed.
They'll do anything.
So you think about this guy, Jeffrey Sachs. I will like you guys to tune in to his stuff. And then Mike Benz, who's been uncovering, like, even all the money USAID pumped into the Maidan Revolution, and when Kerry and all these guys overthrew the government there. I mean, that was once they had that done, they had their puppet in place, and they were able to start plucking the resources and money laundering through it. Between that and now Musk, you still can't get liberals to watch these things. They tell me Musk is the worst person. Well, you know who somebody is in 3.5 hour open forum conversation for the most part. Musk has done 3 of them. He's got 10 hours of dialogue there. Watch them all. Then tell me he's in it for the wrong reasons. So it's hard to reason with people these days.
And this is coming from someone, Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, you were not a huge Musk fan because of government subsidies and his Teslas and
I was always disgusted by.
You weren't a huge fan of his before.
Corporate welfare makes me sick. He doesn't need the tax dollar, but so I don't fully trust him completely. But the more you watch him, it's hard to not. But I'll
at least on what he's doing now.
Yeah, exactly right. So I mean, everyone's great until they aren't. So you just can't be ideologically entrenched in believing this guy's always going to be a good guy. But for now, he's definitely on my side, on our side, and the people in general. The working man needs guys like this, right?
Yeah. The problem is the left, or the people that just they hate everything Trump. They are so married to their position,
ideologically entrenched.
Yes,
is a great.
They cannot divorce themselves from what they see. They could be getting punched in the face by their best friend, and Trump tries to stop them, and they'll say Trump hit me.
Yeah,
right.
I saw,
that's how crazy these people are.
I saw a meme, and it's foul, but it says don't eat kitty litter. And there is liberals scooping it into their mouth. Trump's saying don't eat kitty litter, so liberals will just start eating it.
Right.
Like everything's the polar opposite. They're just so lost. It's actually kind of delightful at times to watch.
It is.
To watch online. It's like this. Boop. Just trigger them.
All right, 41 past the hour. We'll do some more news. What even is that coming up at 9? Let's do some sports. Slick's here. He's got it. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. Slickster, what's going on?
All right, Big D, let me hit the scoreboard. Well, it's March, Big D. We're less than 2 weeks away from Selection Sunday.
Ooh.
So we're keeping track of the NCAA men's basketball. Selection Sunday would be March 16th. Can't wait for the big Final Four. We got to get our brackets ready together, Big D, right? We're going to do our brackets again this year.
Yeah, of course.
Come on, let's go. So we got NCAA men's basketball right now. Tuning up, number 2, Duke right now, taking care of business against Wake Forest. 67-43, 9.5 to go there in the second half. With 4 to go in the second half as well. McNeese 80-53 over SF Austin, and number 3 Houston coming on tonight, taking on Kansas, hosting them down in Houston. 9 p.m. tip-off. North Texas taking on Wichita State, and Northwestern and UCLA also 9 p.m. tip-offs. NHL, to the ice we go. Big game in the Garden. Crosstown rivals, Rangers, Islanders. Islanders right now trail the Rangers 2-0. Islanders go up, end of 2. Islanders scored early and looks like they're scoring often. They got 2 now. We'll see what happens there. Senators right now trail the Capitals 3-2, 18 to go there in the third. With just about a minute and a half to go in the second period, Canadians 3-1 over the Sabres. Panthers blanking the Lightning 2-0, 20 seconds to go there in the second period. Also second period just underway. No score, Sharks and Maple Leafs. Kings and Blackhawks also no score, 18 to go in the first in Chicago. Right now NBA action, Portland down in Philly, Wells Fargo Arena, beating Philly right now 90-81. 30 to go there in the third. Warriors 65-59 over the Hornets, 5 to go there in the third. And at the half, the Heat lead the Wizards 55-36. And I'll give you 1 or 2 more scores because I don't have time to do anything else. Rockets over the Thunder 39-33, 9 to go there in the second. And also in the second, about 10 to go, Grizzlies 37-30 over the Hawks, Big D. And that's a wrap. Back to you.
All right, Slick, we'll do some more sports here when we get back here in a second. We'll do some more news with Delgado. Put a wrap on hour 1. Hour 2 coming up. What even is that? Kicks it off at 9 p.m. So stay tuned for that. Live from Studio 6B on a Monday, March 3rd. We're back right after this.
He's hated every president since Nixon, so, but his timeline is great. So, yeah, Sachs, he doesn't like how Israel owns U.S. foreign policy. But you just can't listen to everybody who loves your guy. You got to listen to other stuff.
Chat.
Chat. What's going on? Hello, Racing Banshee.
Did you get the Child of the King?
Yeah, $100.
Okay.
I can't open it for some reason.
I did.
Like the hullabaloo.
Nancy Burns on X. Hello.
Operating tonight. I don't know.
College grad failure. Hello. Farmer Brook. We do the March Madness so everybody can enter. We do it through the ESPN bracket system deal. We have our own private group for LFS6B. We'll do it again this year the same way. So everybody can enter. I'll post the links on all socials.
Yeah.
Damon, that's the same sweatshirt you wore Friday? Incorrect, my friend.
No,
Chris.
it's different.
It's close.
That was an Izod, the one you had
I have many of these, number one.
Yes.
But I wouldn't wear them back-to-back days.
Got this for Crazy Town by any chance?
No.
You got to put on a new shirt, Damon.
Put on a new suit.
Put on a new shirt, Damon.
Elon Musk, what are you doing here? Go back.
Commander Mike, hello. What's up, Tumbleweed Farmer? Hello. Chat, chat, chat. Pigpen, what's going on? Danita on X. KC58 on X. Boy, I streamed the president earlier today in his announcement. We had 7,000 people on X.
Wow.
So, pretty good. Jody Heskett on YouTube. Hello. Thank you very much. Put on a suit. Hello on X.
Somebody has that name now.
Delgado's been on point lately. Ticked off Patriot.
Oh, Delgado.
Oh, my goodness.
Burns,
Saving
Jinx
his life.
on X. And Miller on X.
Come on, Delgado. You're on point.
You're on point, Delgado.
I'm on point.
Now it's time to take a few days off.
I'll see you Wednesday.
Studio 6B on a Monday. Brand new week, brand new month. Glad you're in, man. 25 seems like it's flying by already. We're in March.
We're in March. It's this president. He's got us going 100 miles an hour.
That's it.
From Monday through Sunday. There's always something going on.
Damon, do you think the EU deal with Zelensky is doomed to fail? It's a good question. Again, my question tonight would be, do we even think Zelensky... Let's go even past, does he want the deal? Number one, is he allowed to even sign a deal? How do we know that he's, at this point, the decision maker? Maybe he's just a puppet, and there's much higher power at play here, and he's not even going to be allowed to sign a deal, never was given a green light to sign a deal, and came over here, and maybe that explains his behavior. Now, Paul saw, what's his name? He appears on this network a lot, but it happened to be on another network.
Oh, Mike Benz.
Not Benz. The thing you sent me was, what's his name? Admiral...
oh, I'm sorry. I sent you too much stuff.
This segment brought to you
Tony Schaefer.
Oh, yeah,
Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaefer was on with somebody and said that this whole thing was a big show, and he was never meant to sign this thing because the UK... and some other EU partners and Zelensky had already had some kind of backroom deal.
Yeah, 100-year deal for rare earth minerals. So, I mean, that's been floating around UK, gov.uk. So, I don't trust that guy as far as I can throw him. We know that he was, we know the globalists have all been put in place. But they're all there for a reason because they're all looking for that one world government and the one world currency. That's their plan. And now Trump comes in and wrecks it. Oh, in a China shop.
So this is Jim Ferguson. Jim Ferguson UK on X says, and again, I'm just reading you what he wrote here. I have no way to say this is 100% factual, but he says Starmer and Zelensky tried to play Trump. Globalist backroom back deal exposed. He says the mask has slipped again. Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaefer has exposed a major contradiction in Ukraine's so-called mineral negotiations with the United States. Just weeks before Zelensky walked into the Oval Office demanding a minerals deal from Trump, he had already signed a 100-year partnership with the UK, including a mineral clause with Keir Starmer's globalist government. So think about that. On January 17th, Starmer and Zelensky locked in an agreement that ties Ukraine's critical mineral wealth to the UK for the next century. That deal covers defense, security, energy, and infrastructure, and a special working group designed to maximize benefits from Ukraine's natural resources. So why was Zelensky in Washington acting like he was negotiating in good faith with the U.S.? Was this a real discussion or just an attempt to shake down the Trump administration while Starmer and his globalist friends sat back laughing? They thought Trump and America were fools. Well, they just got caught. What this now means, Ukraine's leadership is playing multiple sides, signing secret long-term deals while pretending to negotiate with America. Starmer's knee-deep in the deception. He was just here too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Using Ukraine as a bargaining chip while cozying up to EU elites. Trump saw through the game and refused to be manipulated. Now the globalists are scrambling. Well, so that's the reporting from Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, as reported by Jim Ferguson on X. So when you ask your question, do I think it's doomed? I think there's a lot more at play than any of us probably know. And, of course, the media in America only focuses on that 5 minutes and focuses on these very, Trump's mean and he's ruining everything and the world's falling apart thanks to his temper. And it's the same old story. No substance, no real interest in really what's going on here. Reporting like this, trying to figure out what the deal, what actually did we see last week there? What was that? They don't want to ask questions. They don't want to. They just want to take everything at face value and say, "Oh, Trump, it's bad. It's his fault." Well, there's a lot going on here. Would be my guess.
Yeah, I think there are so many moving parts. There are so many snakes in the woods, and I just think this is an endless shifting, moving parts everywhere, and I think it's a game of chicken. And I think that if people think that the deal ended right there when Trump smacked that little punk to the ground and made him and tried to humble him, and he thought he was all smug because obviously we know that he had a deal in place behind the scenes with all the Democrat anti-Trumpers before he even shut up that meeting. So he must have thought he was coming in there all dressed and tough and mighty. I am such a tough little G.I. Joe. I just think the whole thing, he just got called out. And I think once the leverage gets twisted on him, everyone's going to back off. We saw the way Mexico caved. We saw the way Colombia caved. People are just going to cave. And the story I was going to do now was about what's his name? Doug Ford doubles down on his threat to cut off energy to U.S. amid specter of trade war. U.S. tariffs on Canadian goods come Tuesday, Trump says. Newly re-elected Premier Doug Ford doubled down on Monday with his threat to cut off electricity flowing from Ontario to several American states if the U.S. moves ahead with tariffs. He said, if they want to annihilate Ontario, I will do anything, including off their energy, with a smile on my face. He said this during his press conference. Then he said the import of levies could potentially devastate several key Ontario industries like auto manufacturing and steel production, as well as drive up retail prices and fuel more inflation. Ford added that his government is also prepared to implement a surcharge on every megawatt of energy the states purchase from Ontario and rip up a $100 million deal with Elon Musk's Starlink internet company. So he's acting like quite a bit of bravado here. So let's see.
Here's the clip of what some of what he said.
We are the largest purchaser of alcohol in the world. We buy over 3,600 products from 35 states. I talked to the governor of Kentucky and Mitch McConnell. Don't touch our bourbon. I'm going after absolutely everything. And I don't want to. We keep the lights on to 1.5 million homes and manufacturing in New York, in Michigan, and in Minnesota. If he wants to destroy our economy and our families, I will shut down the electricity going down to the U.S. And I'm telling you, we will do it. It's unfortunate. I would rather ship you more electricity, ship you more critical minerals. I want to ship you more energy, more potash to keep your farmers going, and uranium that you use for your nuclear power. It comes through from Saskatchewan over to Ontario, and it's going to be a massive, massive problem. I'm telling you, we love the Canadians love Americans. I love the U.S. Everyone does, and not one American friend. When I lived there for 20 years, I've talked to all of them. Hardcore Republicans are saying this is the biggest mistake President Trump has done, and we're dead against it. And I've yet to find one that supports him.
And so, if I'm hearing you correctly, you are ready, sir, to go to war, to go to a trade war with the United States, with the Trump administration.
Good luck.
It's the last thing we want to do. It's one person that's coming to attack us economically. Your closest friend, your treasured ally that will stand shoulder to shoulder with you in every situation you faced, and he's attacking the person, his number one customer. There's no country in the world that buys more products off the U.S. than we do. We're the number one trading customer to 28 states, and a lot of them are red states. They're going to feel the pain like they've never felt before. We're going to feel the pain, but I'll tell you, Canadians are resilient, we're strong, we're proud, and we're going to fight back like the.
Yeah.
And we shut down your bank account if you talk against us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I would just say good luck with that.
Yep. That's why energy independence is so paramount.
2 trillion GDP, 30 trillion. Let's think this through.
Canadian bacon doesn't cut it. It's National Archive. It's going to go down and show lore.
I couldn't believe it was still there. I left for 2 years. It's still there.
Damon
At least 2 years. I think it was there a year before you left.
I bought it.
Right. You never
bought it.
So did he.
Yeah, it was delicious, by the way. It might have been one of the best crumb cakes I've ever had.
That was dynamite crumb cake.
By the way, speaking of that fundraiser was great. It was like decent, real food. You see what's in Girl Scout cookies?
Oh,
Joe Rogan had nutritionists on, and they were going through. There's more glyphosate in.
Oh yeah.
The Roundup stuff.
I ate a box of those. That looked like a science project. Yeah, it's terrible. The crap that's in there.
Right. You can kill the weeds in your lawn by crumbling a Girl Scout cookie on it.
Oh man. It's terrible. You think they'd be more natural.
Forgot. We're live.
We're in the chat. What does a box of Girl Scout cookies go for? $18 now?
All I know is I saw one that was down in Myrtle. They had a stand outside of the pub we were going into. And
they had a mortgage guy there.
I gave the kid, here's $10. Just do me a favor. Don't eat the cookies. Here's a donation. I throw these out. I love that Bill Murray was on road.
Say that again?
Bill Murray.
Okay.
Paul Ferroli. Rock and Paul are like bookends. I guess he means Rick. YouTube chat. YouTube. Ron and Norma Klein can't wait till 9 o'clock for you, Rick. They were asking, when is Delgado's, what even is that?
What?
Got a treat tonight.
Throw up my screen, Aaron, for a second. I mean, this is pretty fun.
Midget dogs. That's terrible. Let's post that so we can really go viral.
I don't know how they. This is hysterical. How do they do this?
You're not going to play that, are you? Know.
Could you imagine how empty this world would be without memes and GIFs?
Oh, I know.
Look at this.
God. I thought I sent one on Friday where they...
Watch JD when he throws him over. He kind of just looks like... Watch JD.
It's like mini-me.
It is like mini-me.
Oh, God. That's pretty funny.
Oh, man. Talk about a midget toss.
So funny.
Oh, very good.
2, live from Studio 6B, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. Glad you're in. Slick's going to do some sports. Delgado's got some news. Paul's got some news. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Glad you're in. American Thinker today, Bill Ponton has a piece breaking down what he saw in the Oval Office, and he says it's another lesson in great power politics, which is what we're seeing from President Trump. And like I said in the opening hour, he's going to ratchet this up tonight because maybe he smells a rat in some of the things we've been discussing. And let's find out where all the cards really are. And it goes to the clip we just played too up there, Fat Boy up in Ontario. If he wants to F around, he's going to find out too. We can see how we can always see how dedicated you are to these positions that you people take when you want to act tough. We can always see how dedicated you really are to that with just a little pressure.
Yeah.
And see how you like it.
Yep.
I love these people. Oh, well, they're going to don't tell us what we're not going to do anything. We're not going to feel anything.
I wanted to ask you guys, I didn't get to talk about the press conference. Did you feel like that threat that Zelensky made about you're protected by oceans and,
Yeah, that's what really sent Trump off.
Yeah. Don't tell us what we're going to feel. But that was a veiled threat. That you guys are so safe for now, but you're going to feel this.
Exactly. Don't tell us what we're going to anything.
Yeah, right. I didn't. That was.
And you know what? He has a history of talking like this too. Zelensky, I mean.
Yeah. Biden had it. Biden had it out with him too, and back in 2022.
Right, and then Biden caved and gave him everything he wanted. But here's cut number 9. If you want to go back in time machine real quick, here's Zelensky saying this about U.S. and NATO soldiers when it comes to the Ukraine war. Cut 9. Look at this.
The U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war. And they will have to fight because it's NATO that we're talking about, and they will be dying.
Yeah, they will be dying.
And that's exactly my point. When I hear people say, Russia's 100% wrong in this, that, we didn't infringe upon the NATO agreement and we didn't move eastern along their border because they're peaceful nations and Poland. It's still NATO, which is essentially the European wing of the U.S. military industrial complex.
Right.
So there is a threat. Let's not act like there isn't if you're Russia, because if they were putting bases in Canada or Mexico, we would not be thrilled.
Right. Look what happened with the Cuban Missile Crisis.
No question.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, it's time now for one of my new favorite segments here on the show on a Monday night, and that, of course, is Rick Delgado with What Even Is That?
All right, Damon. Well, thank you. And I must say,
welcome, Rick.
Yeah, we've been. I guess you could say we've been pretty Trump heavy.
Yeah.
Well, since always. And I guess you could say that could set some people off, but it doesn't accurately really describe this show.
What are you?
Exactly. What are we? I mean, whenever people ask me about this show, and I know you guys get this as well, it's kind of hard to describe.
What the hell is even that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say we're a mashup of something like The Five with a dose of your favorite podcast mixed with a format similar to The View, except for the fact that I think you'd all agree that we're way better looking than those dudes, right?
Ew.
Exactly. I mean, we could cover just about everything, right? We've covered all sorts of news, not just President Trump.
Sure.
Hold it. This is a good one. Is everybody listening?
Yes. As a matter of fact, we've tried to cover as much stuff as possible. And I think you'd be hard-pressed to find any show anywhere that can go from covering presidential campaigns, no matter where they are.
Hello. Look out.
To covering the steaming piles of legislation coming out of Congress.
Yeah.
Not this again. No. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Nothing like covering Congress.
Nothing like covering Congress.
Talk about WikiLeaks.
How old are we? Welcome to Live from 6th grade Studio 6B.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what else could you
Look
do?
at Waddle. Oh, my God. Look, he was back.
Yeah, well, I mean, we also cross the pond, so to speak, and cover the most important international and hard-hitting world news, of course, thrown in with our own spin. And if you want more, well, who can forget the wild and exciting world of sports, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just look at this. Hell, Slick even takes advice from viewers, and we cover things that no one else even thinks about.
There you go. Tied on roping right there.
See, awesome. Slick says he might even start covering the Iditarod.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who else does
Kicked
that?
off yesterday over the weekend.
Who else does that but us, right?
Nobody.
Exactly. Sometimes we even talk about things like the occult, otherworldly things that might make the news. You never know.
That's a good one right there.
Heck, we'll even cover anything that might be fit coming out of Hollywood.
Yeah, sure.
I guess you could call us...
Hold it. This is a good one. Is everybody listening?
Newsertainment. That's what we are.
It's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant!
Yes,
Genius,
I know.
I say.
I know because I just made it up. Now, don't get me wrong, though I wasn't here from the first iteration of LS6B.
Oh, look out, 2015.
Exactly. The show has not always been like that, but I'd like to say we've kind of evolved. This current incarnation of the show is now about 5 years old. I mean, it used to look like this. Then it looked like this. Then Paul Nolan was abducted or went missing, and for a while the show ended up looking like this.
Yeah. Okay.
But there was so much going on with the 2024 presidential campaign.
I'll drink to that. Hold on.
That someone had to cover it all and help make it all make sense between who was in, who was out, and who was being shot at.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Then the show went back to looking like this.
Okay.
But soon our clams got steamed.
Oh!
When this guy showed up with his stink badger.
Stink badger in aisle 6.
Yes. And just when you thought we were getting all comfy, this guy found his way out of Damon's trunk.
Yep.
And now the show also looks like this, too.
Oh, gosh. Look at that.
But wait! There's more!
Yeah. Because now this guy came back from the nether regions.
Yeah.
And now the show looks like this, too.
That was weird, wild stuff. I did not know that.
Yeah. So there you have it.
Looks like
It does.
Whether it's news, sports, or just some naked guy escaping Dan
come
Harris's
on now.
closet,
come on,
you can be comforted in the fact that if
poor
it's
Dick.
newsertainment, we will cover it.
Yeah.
All right. I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television. I will say that.
Yes, Damon.
Yes.
Oops. I think.
that's good.
I think something
that's
cleared
a good
customs
picture.
there, Paul.
Who's that, Brad Pitt?
I think something cleared customs there, Paul.
No, that's Brad Litt.
Damon, back to you.
Oh, man. All right. Yeah. All right.
There you have it. A little history rundown memory lane.
A little LFS6B history there.
Yes.
Yep.
Let me see that. Let me see, Aaron. Let me see that. Me and Vin, 2015. Man, talk about shoestring budget.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where's that?
What's the?
Vin looks like he needs some coffee.
What was that camera facing? I wonder.
I think the toilet.
That was for your guests. When you first had guests, they sat across from you.
Oh, that's
That was the
right.
guest
We had
cam.
guests sit across from us.
And we had put a monitor behind them so you wouldn't see the mess of the space that was the rest of the studio.
Yes.
You know what?
Yes. Yes.
Did you have computers back then?
We still have them.
Oh, yeah, we still use them.
I think Vin's using the same. No, actually, it's a little different, but.
Oh, that's
Wow, look at that.
Look at that.
That's a classic.
Vin looks a lot more successful now than he did back then.
Well, Vin hasn't
not know
changed
that.
much, honestly.
No, he hasn't actually.
Vin
You're
hasn't
right.
really changed that
No.
much. I look way older now than I did then. I was, oof.
Not really.
No?
No.
Yeah, you still look old back then.
Yeah, you looked old back then. No, you haven't changed much.
Well, and Vin was still getting in Facebook fights back then, too.
Yeah.
Wow.
There
That's
you
a
go.
classic
Well, there you
shot.
have it. That
man.
was my homage.
That's epic.
Very nice.
Does everybody else find themselves been trolling on Facebook a little bit these days? Watching all the loonies from the left? I don't know if it's just I've had some free time the last week and it's just fun.
It's fun, right? I got into it with a guy today. He calls himself a comedian. nothing he posts, I've been all up and down his page. I can't find anything funny.
Yeah.
But then again, he's a liberal.
Yeah, not a lot of funny liberals.
No, not a lot of funny.
Not these days.
Speaking of Hollyweird, as you put in your script, wasn't there something last night for Hollyweird?
Yeah, the Oscars.
Oh, the Oscars.
The
Academy
Oscars last
Awards.
night?
Yeah.
Oh, Oscars.
What's the
Conan O'Brien.
How many tens of people watched it? Do we know?
I would count myself among the millions upon millions that didn't.
They claim
So,
a billion. They claim a billion people are watching all over the world.
Probably
but
around the world.
In this country, probably 50,000.
I did see, though, a report.
terrible.
I didn't see the speech that one, not McCulkey or whatever his name is, Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin. His brother, I guess it is.
Kieran Culkin?
Is that his name?
Is that his name?
He actually won something and got up and gave a whole speech about how the kind of the point of marriage and life is to have kids and have as many kids as you want and build a family and something like that. I heard and I saw somebody say, if Hollywood could get back to feeling in speeches like this, to stay away from the whole, which of course they'll never do. They could make Hollywood great again. And I thought, well, I don't know that it's ever been great, at least when it comes to that. But at least there was this one speech I saw. I guess the rest of it was just a nightmare.
Yeah, I have no interest.
I watched 0 seconds of it. 0 seconds. Did anyone watch any of it?
No, I watched. I watched.
Very good.
I don't watch any of it.
You all get extra points tonight.
I watched some of it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I was interested in who was the host again? I forget.
Conan O'Brien.
Conan O'Brien. I was like,
He's funny.
maybe I might
love
check
Conan.
him out, but because Conan's a pretty funny dude.
He's really funny.
Yeah, they didn't let him get a lot of action last night. It was mostly just sets and speeches went on too long. A couple of Ukraine things.
They
of
must
course,
have read him the riot act. Don't you get edgy for 1 second.
Well, yeah, it's true. That was
What was the thing he did with? I saw Adam Sandler was there.
Yeah,
or something.
Adam Sandler showed up.
Was that supposed to be like a takeoff on the Oval Office thing with Zelensky? Like
they didn't say it, but it had to be point blank. Of course, yeah, that was a takeoff on the Zelensky with the suit because he came in a sweatshirt, a hoodie,
Right.
and he was, I'll dress how I want to. Conan, you had to say something the rest of you didn't say, but you had to start with me. You're leading
right,
this
so they
thing.
were taking a shot.
Yeah,
there.
oh, definitely.
A veiled, lame, unfunny shot.
I tell you, it went on too long too. It was so
But
goofy.
Sandler is a Trump guy.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
he's fun. He was laughing through it.
All right, 13 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. We'll do some more news and sports coming up on a Monday night. Phil Patrick. That's who's going to join us at 9:30 for Birch Gold.
Who's doing coffees?
Thought you were.
I had coffee. Oh, I'll make you a cup.
I forget it.
I'll make.
I didn't realize you had one.
I have one. I got my mate.
No, that's all right. Don't worry about it. Sock blower break. Someone said Delgado for you.
Almost.
But you're not.
I might have to do it the next one.
It's not that cold.
It's a little cold. It's still pretty cold. It was nice on Saturday, and then it got cold, so now I'm cold now.
Oh, someone thinks he was making fun of Fetterman instead of... no, I think he was making fun of the Zelensky thing in the Oval Office about the dress and the suit. I think it was actually really designed for Brian Glenn. Brian Glenn really made it onto the Oscars, I think is the way to frame it.
You wear a suit.
Speaking of your pictures of old Live from Studio 6B lineups, I saw Sabrina Coleman was at the Mar-a-Lago this weekend with President Trump.
Really?
At that event that they held for dogs or something. I wish I knew what that, some great sounding business that takes care of dogs or something or else.
Oh.
Yeah, she was there with her husband.
She didn't call in.
Delgado, Fran has found something for you that you absolutely need.
Fran?
Yep.
Should I race in there?
Look.
What is
like a heat?
Oh my goodness!
Like a heat circle. For you.
That's wonderful.
You want me to order it for you?
Holy shnikes!
You want me to order
This
it
is
for
a
you?
game changer.
That's what it says, game changer. And there's a button here that says send gift. Let me see if I can send this to you. Let me buy one.
You make a little thing. You turn it on.
Yep.
Oh my lord! He was. I didn't see it, but I saw the email regarding it.
What are you guys doing? You guys shopping?
That's awesome. Good for him.
What email? Got an email? What?
Yeah, I guess I send it to everybody to see if anybody responds.
All right, 17 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. That sound like the blues, which means I need to talk to you about somebody, and I'll bet that's going to be the Wellness Company, because it's a new day in America and a new administration in Washington, D.C. There's a lot of excitement and optimism about the future, but the reality is there's a lot of work to do, especially when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. The truth is that the forces that are responsible for breaking our healthcare system aren't going to simply go away. The challenges our system faces won't disappear overnight. Now more than ever, you need to be prepared, and of course, that's where the Wellness Company comes in. Their doctors are medical professionals that you can trust, and their line of prescription medical kits are the gold standard when it comes to keeping you safe and healthy. Whether it's the medical emergency kit, the contagion kit, the first aid kit, or the travel kit, these prescription kits contain an assortment of life-saving medications and guidebooks to assist in the proper use of all medications. From the flu to strep throat, from COVID to bird flu, from a trip to the beach to a trip overseas, the Wellness Company has a prescription kit designed to keep you and your family safe. Make America Healthy Again starts at home. Do your part. Protect the health of you and your family. Go to twc.health/voice, www.twc.health/voice today in order. That's twc.health/voice. Use promo code VOICE to save an additional 10%. All right, 18 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Let's do some sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. MyPillow.com/LFS6B to get to all the best deals for this audience. Use promo code LFS6B at checkout, and it'll give you an absolutely great savings. Most of the time, up to about 50% off whatever you put in your cart. Slick's got sports. What's going on?
All right, Big D. Riley Gaines calls on Caitlin Clark, Simone Biles to oppose trans athletes in women's sports. Dylan Gwynn of Breitbart News reporting. Riley Gaines has been the face of the movement to protect women's sports. Now she's asking the two most prominent names in female sports to join her. People who I think would be critical to this movement are, of course, people like Caitlin Clark, people like Simone Biles, which I think is definitely a stretch, but these are women who have been able to shatter glass ceilings and break barriers, who are role models to our young girls across the country, Gaines told Fox Digital in an exclusive interview. To have them emphatically say they, trans athletes, do not belong in women's sports the issue would be solved across all levels, like yesterday, if they were willing to do this. While acknowledging that obtaining the backing of Clark and Biles is definitely a stretch, the former NCAA champion swimmer also said the sway of American public opinion against the inclusion of trans athletes makes the proposition less of a stretch than it once was. Jennifer Say, a former U.S. gymnast and Levi's executive, founded the brand XXXY Athletics, a company dedicated to opposing transgender inclusion in women's sports, echoed the call for prominent female athletes to join the fight. We are always encouraging more female athletes to join the fight, and we'd love to work with anyone standing up for the integrity of women's sports. We are in constant conversations with those who have stood up or are considering doing so, Say said. We believe this ends when the trans athletes defend women's sports in large numbers. Despite the success of XXXY Athletics, Say the activist brand still lacks a prominent active ambassador. We don't have any currently competing top-tier athletes who have spoken out. I think that's an illustration of how far we have to go. It should be normal for them to stand up and say, I will fight for the protection of women's sports, and yet they haven't, because I think a lot of them are afraid of being called terrible names. Societal shifts give reason for optimism that someone of the stature of Clark or Biles may soon emerge to rep a brand like XXXY. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, that's a big ask, and well, they got to do it. Well, here's some news that's kind of close to home for me. NFL legend Jimmy Johnson retires from Fox Sports after nearly 30 years. Dylan Gwynn of Breitbart. Super Bowl champion, Pro Football Hall of Famer, and longtime Fox Sports analyst Jimmy Johnson has decided to retire after over 25 years at the network. Johnson made the announcement Monday on The Herd with Colin Cowherd. I've made an extremely difficult decision, Johnson said. I've been thinking about it for the last 4 or 5 years, but I've decided to retire from Fox. I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss all the guys, but it has been a great run starting 31 years ago. Johnson started working for Fox in March of 94 after his championship run with the Cowboys ended. The gridiron would call for Johnson again in 96 when he left the Fox NFL Sunday panel to coach the Dolphins from 96 to 99. Johnson returned to Fox in 99 and remained there up until today. Putting all of Johnson's achievements in perspective is a tall task. He won a national championship with the Miami Hurricanes in 87 before leaving to turn around a bad Dallas franchise under then newly minted owner Jerry Jones in 1989. I remember that 1-15 season. I saw them play. Johnson had enormous shoes to fill in replacing Dallas legendary coach Tom Landry. However, Johnson proved himself more than up to the task, taking a 1-15 team in his first season to a 13-3 record 3 years later and a Super Bowl championship. Dallas would go 12-4 the following season and repeat as Super Bowl champions the following year. Johnson left the Cowboys after their 1993 Super Bowl championship. I think the Cowboys probably would have won 4 in a row for sure, maybe even 5 had Johnson stayed. He was that good of a coach, and those boys, they would have ran through walls for him, and they did too. So Jimmy Johnson, hanging it up, Big D, one of the best to do it. Great. I saw he's 81 years old now, by the way, and I did see him kind of a little bit, he's slipping a little bit there on the screen. He wasn't as sharp as he once was. I don't know if you noticed that. You picked up on it, right?
I mean, maybe, but he's
still better than
still dynamite.
Better than Terry Bradshaw.
He's still better than Strahan. Oh, Bradshaw.
He's the worst.
Exactly.
Bradshaw, he's.
I mean, come on.
He got dropped on his head way too many times.
I mean, I'd keep Jerry over Terry, and I mean, I love both of them. And Terry's as funny as funny as it gets, but
yeah,
I mean, it's kind of dog track time.
And Strahan is still on there, so we'll see.
Well, Strahan's pretty young. I mean, Strahan trying to kick him off too?
No, Strahan's he's actually good for the show. I don't particularly care for him.
Long's good.
Strahan, Howie Long, Gronkowski.
Howie Long is fantastic. I still like him. He looks good. He's
Brady,
sharp.
obviously, when he joins them sometimes. Now that he's part of the family there.
Yeah,
they got some young.
Yep. He's in the booth mostly.
Yeah,
but
they got to make it a little younger. Probably time to.
I wonder who they'll get to replace him. I wonder who they'll bring in.
There's an endless list of people who give their thumb for that job.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, he does a great job. Good work if he can get it. And that's a wrap in sports, Big D. Back to you.
All right, Slickster, very good. 24 past the hour. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Use promo code LFS6B at checkout. Doug Otto, what else is going on in the news?
All right. Well, there was a particular reason I wore this shirt tonight in honor of FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino. It's one of the things he likes to say on his show. Don't get dead, and that's my advice for the new deputy director. Dan, don't get dead. According to this article on CNN, and this is something he's talked about a lot. He suggested that on his popular podcast that the agency that he's about to lead is complicit in the planning of pipe bombs around Washington, D.C. and the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021. If you rewind the show a little bit where we played Elon talking about exposing corruption and how he might be killed for it, this could be something that might make someone want to make someone dead. He says, I believe the FBI knows the identity of this pipe bomber on January 6, 4 years ago, and just doesn't want to tell us because it was an inside job. This is the guy who is now going to be the deputy director of the FBI. And, of course, throughout his show, the FBI has been a frequent target of his ire. He has called the Bureau corrupt and even suggested a doctored surveillance footage of the pipe bomb suspect, suggesting the bomb was planted by law enforcement to create a narrative that Trump supporters were trying to assassinate then Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. As he said back in January, I've told you many times, the person who planted this bomb was definitely an insider. It's not an anti-Trump person. It's someone planting a bomb to create a narrative that crazy MAGA people are trying to assassinate Kamala Harris. The story goes on. Again, it's from CNN. But, for the new deputy director of the FBI, he and Kash Patel seem to be focused on rooting out some of this stuff. And this is one of the stories that they are looking to expose and get all the information out. So just be careful, Kash, friend of the show, and new FBI deputy director.
Kash.
All right, 26 past the hour. Philip Patrick from Birch Gold joins us when we get back right after this.
Who would be a good replacement on Fox? Somebody asked me that. John Gruden. Nah, I wouldn't bring.
He signed with Barstool.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he's under contract with Barstool.
That was a good get. I didn't
and boy,
see
is
that.
he good too. What a good get and good.
He is good.
Oh, he's excellent.
Great the way they've thought through how to
Chucky.
use him.
His film breakdown stuff.
Content's awesome.
It was epic when he was on ESPN. He used to break down film.
Yeah, he used to have the quarterback interviews talking about how would you do this. He would he would quarterback
Great
coach
mind.
him on the team. It was great.
I'm trying to think who retired this year. Oh, Belichick would be great, but he's with the Tar Heels.
Speaking of, I had a sports news story. Did you see that Keith Olbermann?
I did. I have that lined up. Yep.
You do have
about Canada.
I won't say
with
nothing else.
McAfee. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got that one lined up. I'll do that probably my last sports.
Okay, I
Thanks.
didn't want to.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think you did have it. That's a good one.
I know. I didn't have time. I wanted to do that Caitlin Clark story. I thought
That's a great story.
that was a good story.
I'd like to see.
Riley Gaines. I'm surprised she hasn't been able to. It's just people are afraid. They're afraid. They're afraid of getting lit up.
The woke mob will still kill you.
Plus, I mean, you gotta remember, Caitlin Clark. They're not making the kind of money that Dak Prescott's making, $90 million a year. That Dak could say, yeah, who cares about Nike? I'll go with Nike. I go with them. I don't care. She's got a contract with Nike. Probably pays her more than WNBA.
I was going to do the semiconductor story, but I have a clip. It was going around the last couple of days. I gave it to Aaron. It's a quick one. Aaron, how long is that clip that I gave you? Oh, it's a little bit long.
And a quick one.
No, never mind. I was going to try to tell you to cut it a little bit, but really there's no way to. It shows all of the presidents talking about how great Putin is and making partnerships with him. And I'll put it on my. I'll just put it on my Twitter page, my X.
I bet you Birch Gold's probably doing pretty well now, right, Big D?
Well, Gold's been doing good for about 2 years.
Yeah, but it seems like he's been on the show for how many years now? A couple of years, right? Sponsors, wasn't that like 2-3 years ago?
That's the the accent, British accent.
Yeah,
he's good. He's actually like an enjoyable.
Yeah.
He's the greatest person ever.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's good though.
He's
Seriously.
gold.
He's gold.
He's coming up right now.
Yeah. Oh, good. I
Good
thought
for
so.
them. Can I get my next purchase?
I'm an
with no
economist.
spot
Boy,
fake?
I didn't know it.
30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Monday. New week, new month. Glad you're in, everybody. Paul Nolan's here doing some news. Rick Delgado's going to do some more news. Did a great What Even Is That? Kind of a history homage, would you say?
Yes.
To the years of LFS 6B. Slick's going to do sports. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Markets today were kind of all over the place. Dow Jones ended down 649. NASDAQ ended down 497. S&P down 104. Gold at 28.96. And, of course, who knows more about that market and what's going on than our friend Philip Patrick from Birch Gold. And we welcome him back to the show. Philip, how are you?
Doing well. Thank you for having me, guys.
It's always good to have you back. Always appreciate you giving us a few moments, especially with everything going on with Doge, and we're all rooting for Doge. I had economist and retirement expert Tom Hegna on the show last Friday, and besides many other things he's worried about, he said, listen, we all look at Doge and we respect what they're trying to do. But in the end, right now, it's like they're going onto the sand and getting a bucket full of sand and saying, they're looking around going, "Jit, we still got the whole beach to try to get the sand off of here. We haven't really done much, and we've taken a lot of buckets." Do you think Doge, in the end, gets to anything substantially close to the number of $1 trillion or $2 trillion, or do you think it's going to be, hey, it's going to wake everybody up to where they're spending our money, and they may find some savings? But in the grand scheme of what this government has ballooned into, it's not going to really equal cuts.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly that. Listen, it has been a very good marketing exercise. They are highlighting, I think, some wasteful spending. But as you say, it's a drop in the bucket. So far, Doge is saying they've cut about $55 billion from DEI initiatives and other things. Independent analysis says so far it's about $2.6 billion, because a lot of those figures being touted are potential maximum savings rather than fully realized savings. But for me, the big ones, Social Security, debt service, obviously they can't touch. Defense spending, they can't touch. Right now, politically not viable. And, outside of that, I don't see how they get close to $1 trillion. Discretionary spending is about 12 to 13% of the budget. It's about $897 billion. Cutting $1 trillion or two from $890 billion, of course, is impossible. So it's a drop in the bucket. I think we're going to continue to run deficits. The question for me is, can Doge mitigate the tax cuts that Trump puts in? Maybe is the answer, but I don't think we close the gap in terms of deficit spending.
Well, that kind of gets to the point of all of this, what's going on right now. It almost, if it can give you kind of whiplash, because here you have Doge and they're on their mission. Yet now you have Trump want to extend the tax cuts. People in this country felt even before Trump got in that taxes had no place to go up because it's not a right-left problem, it's a math problem. How can they not go up with $36 trillion in operating debt? Now you want to extend the tax cuts. Doge is looking for spending. We have a debt ceiling fight coming up that we know how the Republicans feel about the debt ceiling. They're more afraid of what the shutdown looks like and the drama around it more than actually being serious about cutting. So we know they're going to raise it again, which kind of fights against Doge. Also is inflationary. Inflation, we still have big problems with inflation, even though people think, well, it's gotten better. It could absolutely reignite. It might be reigniting again. You have the Atlanta Fed now saying we could be in a recession pretty soon because they've now lowered their GDP growth in the first quarter to minus 1.5%, down from plus 2.3, 2.8. So there's a lot going on, and you've got these factions. Does it seem like they're fighting against each other?
Yeah, they are. And look, everyone likes the idea of cutting spending, but taking $1 out of a congressman's district when the time comes to do it is very, very difficult. And we've seen this time and time and time again. Now, spending in on itself is not necessarily bad, right? We've got wise spending, we've got foolish spending, right? You can spend in a way that creates more than $1's worth of economic activity, or you can spend on research to see what fish find sexy, right? So there's different types of spending. The hope is that the Trump administration and the team can spend more wisely than the previous administration, but it's going to be a gamble. Ultimately, what we're gambling on here is Trump can grow the economy faster than we're amassing debt. And that's going to be a tough task. Since the 70s, debt has averaged about 8.5% growth a year. GDP averaged 3%. So it's going to be a tough task. And the question is, are foreign investors going to be willing to finance this? And is President Trump going to have the time to do it? I'm getting concerned that they're not. We're already seeing borrowing rates on government treasuries increasing, even though the Federal Reserve have been lowering rates. So, if borrowing costs start to tick up, Trump has no chance to grow it faster than this debt.
Right, and that was actually going to be my next question, because obviously, Larry Kudlow's, he's obviously a big supply sider too. He's not there anymore, but I'm sure he still talks to the president. It seems like the supply side boom is kind of what the Trump administration wanted to do, but just as you just so eloquently pointed out, how do they get the economy to grow faster than the national debt when we're adding $1 trillion every 89 days?
It's the answer is it's really tough to do. And you look at Trump's plans like tariffs. He wants to incentivize domestic manufacturing. Tariffs are great for that. By the way, they're not good revenue generators, as we found out the first time, and I think we're going to find out again. But to boost the manufacturing base, it's a 7 to 10 year process. So that's kind of my point. President Trump needs time to grow the economy. And my concern is that he's not going to get that time. The second thing is, when you're trying to grow it with borrowed money, the risks are, of course, amplified. Creditors don't care whether you spend the money wisely or foolishly. They want to get paid back. So, look, I'm hopeful. Listen, the previous administration didn't even understand the problems, right? So at least now we understand there are problems. They're taking steps to address it. The question is it too little, too late? Early signs are concerning.
Yeah. And of course, the markets don't like the tariffs because it's uncertainty. They don't like a trade wars. You see the markets react. Every time President Trump stands in front of a microphone like he did today to talk about really what's a fantastic deal with Taiwan Semiconductor, a big deal, a $500-something billion deal. Come here, make some chips in Arizona, big deal. But he gets asked questions about tariffs, and he says, "Oh no, they're going on tomorrow," and the market just immediately tanks. They just immediately tanks.
Look, tariffs are tough. Since World War II, the global economy has been very intertwined, and they just create chaos, and they lead to retaliation. Look at the tariffs Trump put on China in 2016. They generated revenue, and for every dollar they generated in revenue, we have to give back 96 cents to American farmers. So they're designed to disrupt. It looks like a lot of his policies are. But we'll have to see how it works out. Look, the reality is, like I said before, the previous administration didn't recognize the problem. We would have continued to run deficits. So are these the solutions? I don't know. We're going to find out. But better do something than nothing. And I think we're going to see a ton of volatility in the meantime. And that's why, gold has set a new record high every 5 days so far this year. And I think it'll continue to do so.
Yeah, let's talk about gold a little bit. Here's the big question of the interview now. Scott Bessent, your new Treasury Secretary, says that him and the president are going out to Fort Knox. And of course, the big question here, Philip, we're looking for a big answer from you here. Is this going to be a Geraldo Rivera deal when we open the door and there's nothing there? Or, as Scott Bessent said, do you believe that all the gold's there, accounted for, and everything's good? What's going to happen at Fort Knox?
Listen, I have no inside information. I can say this, though. There hasn't been an audit for a long time, since the 1950s, over 70 years. And the government refused external audits on the grounds of national security, the idea being that gold reserves are seen as a symbol of national credit, and public audits could, they fear, trigger a crisis of trust. Well, that in on itself is concerning to me. An audit is a count designed to create certainty. But I'll say this, if Bessent goes in there and there's no gold, they're going to come out and say, everything was there. We're all good. So there's no chance.
We had a video of some guys they said the meme was they're getting ready for Trump's arrival and they're spray painting gold on like cement bricks.
Exactly. Bessent won't be happy. Yeah.
We've been speaking with Philip Patrick from Birch Gold. Of course, you can text the word America to 9898898. Text the word America to 9898898 and get started with a free information kit on gold from our friends at Birch Gold. See if gold and converting an IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold is right for you. Gold is doing well. We told you gold was set up to run The chart alone told you that. This was probably a year and a half ago when Philip was coming on the show and we talked about it. And here we are about 2,800, 2,900. And with inflation not under control, I think gold is still set up to hedge your way against inflation. I would assume you agree with that.
Absolutely. I think the world is getting crazier, and the only silver lining is gold, I suppose.
Text the word America. The only silver lining is gold. I like that. Text America to 989898. Philip, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. My pleasure.
Phil Patrick from Birch Gold. Text America to 989898.
I would love to know his opinion, what he thinks the real price per ounce of gold is. Because there's a lot of speculation that the ETF markets and, there's that it's worth like 10 times what it's really being valued at. There's a lot of...
We ran a clip last week where, and I forget who it was, but they said that if they go in there, they find the gold and they because I guess it's being reported on the books as like $50 an ounce.
Yeah.
That if it was, the actual, I think it was Glenn
even
Beck.
if it was 20, if they moved it to 2,800, what it actually is in the market, our balance sheet would be
much different.
Much different.
Yeah. I think it was Glenn Beck who had talked about this.
Yeah.
My question to you, Paul, because I know you've brought this up a few times, does this potentially open the door to something like a NESARA?
I hope so. But the fact that Trump tweets out that, or truths out that he wants to create a crypto, reserve, to me is fascinating. But, we had the gold bugs and the robber barons. There's a problem if it's just one commodity, right? It's easy to corner that market when it's a basket of currencies. And now you factor in, as Michael Saylor would say, the apex predator of currency, Bitcoin. It's perfect money in his opinion. And a lot of people agree. But to me, if you had a basket of commodities along with Bitcoin and ADA and XRP, and I don't know, it seems to me like it would be impossible to corner the market. So let's hope something happens.
All right, 42 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. I'm seeing that J.D. Vance gave an interview tonight to Sean Hannity, and I'm just reading one of the quotes. He said, when the Ukrainians came to Washington, it was supposed to be ceremonial. We'll sign this thing, we'll have a rah-rah moment, and then we'll get to negotiating the peace deal. We couldn't even get them to a point where they could talk about a settlement. So, again, what's really going on here?
Yeah.
I think there's much more than meets the eye when it comes to this guy not in a suit.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. And in response to that, breaking news over this evening as well, Trump administration is pausing all aid, including weapons in transit to Ukraine.
Yeah.
So there you have it. This is it's continuing.
All right, 17 till the hour, live from Studio 6B. We'll wrap it up. Try to get to everybody here before we close it out on a Monday night right after this.
Well, probably recovering from a loss, family member, my dad. Yeah.
Did you are you paying attention to Gene Hackman? Is there any breaking news on what happened?
I think that's still under in the ME office.
We all agree that he's one of the best actors of all time.
Yes. Yeah. He got some. They gave him. That was the best part of the Oscars last night. They gave him some. Who's the guy from Shawshank Redemption? The actor.
Tim Robbins?
No, the other one.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman came out and said, thank you, Paul. Morgan Freeman came out and said nice words about him. And, boy, he got some send-off. And then they went through everybody that passed throughout the year and came back to him at the end. Just goes to show you how great he was.
Yeah. You guys remember the movie Unforgiven?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of that was as good a Western as there ever was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put that up.
Morgan Freeman, I think, was in that movie with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And They
For
talked
you to
about-
shoot an unarmed man, should armed himself. He's going to decorate his saloon with my friend Ned. It was so great.
He had some career. I mean, he was in a lot of movies.
He was in everything. I mean,
right, The French Connection.
French Connection was a great movie. Popeye, right? That was Popeye.
Popeye Doyle.
Yeah, Popeye Doyle.
And
I just watched a great movie for the first time. You guys ever see Ben-Hur?
Yeah,
I never saw.
Not for years, though. Oh my god.
First time I ever saw it. Good movie.
I never saw it. It's a classic.
Yeah, glad you brought up Nassaro because not a lot of people want to talk about it.
Well, I wonder if this opens the door if they do revalue the.
I saw a good article today. It was Luke Radowski was talking about how Ron Paul's all his policy from 2007 and 8 when he ran on is happening all over again. So it's been.
Philly's going to release Darius Slay, huh? Oh,
he's getting old.
Yeah, I guess
still
he
good,
is.
but old.
Somebody will pick him up.
I had just a couple. I have stories because there's a lot going on, but I wanted to do the Taiwan semiconductor. We didn't touch on.
I see you tied in that so much going on, Delgado. So much going on.
Who?
Up.
See?
La chat. Come on. Yeah. Spring training on fire right now. Oh, how about those Islanders tonight, Paul? Oh.
What's the score?
They got blanked 4-zip game over. Rangers shut them out 4-0.
Good. What we want.
Playing for a draft pick, baby.
No, we're training for a trade deadline. Dump everything. Sell.
All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Monday night. Let's try to get to everybody here before we wrap it up. Mr. Nolan, I'll come to you first. What else is on your mind?
Well, I just wanted to talk about President Trump. The deal he made today, I thought that was a big deal. The TSMC's $100 billion investment is going to create 20 to 25,000 jobs. I think it's a big deal that Trump makes this deal here. You know, if you're Trump gave the estimate while fielding questions at a press conference where he announced the investment alongside the chief executive, C.C. Wee, and Howard Lutnick. So I'm excited about this. The investment will be at least $100 billion and includes the construction of 5 semiconductor manufacturing facilities in Arizona. To me, this is a monstrous deal. You've been wondering, where is this? Why is this? Here's an example why tariffs do work. Come here, build infrastructure, bring jobs here. To me, that's why the NHL has all the best players from Europe here. It's why the NBA is getting all the best players from Europe, because we have the market. Bring the business here. Tariffs, I believe, in the very short term are volatile and scary. In the midterm will be outstanding. Long term, I think it'll cost us all more money. So let's hope it's a saber rattling. Let's hope it's a negotiating tool to get the industry back, get the economy booming, get everybody working, create infrastructure. Most importantly, let's have our own chip manufacturing at this point. So that's it.
You don't want to be worrying about your chips if China moves on Taiwan. So you take a little bit of that off the table now, too, with this kind of a move as well.
Without a doubt.
Anything else, Paulie?
No, I'm good. I have the story, but Rick's going to do it. So
Slickster, what else is going on in sports?
All right, let's get to the rodeo. Big D, we didn't do any rodeo from the weekend. The rodeo, Grand Island, Nebraska. Big one wrapped up all around. Cowboy was Clay Ellis, tie down and team roping. Bareback Garrett Shadbolt took that one with 86.5 points on Sutton Rodeo's Fancy Streak. Steer wrestling, Tom Uttermark, 3.4 seconds. Team roping, Miles Kenzie, Elliot Gorno, 4.5 seconds. Saddle Bronc went to cash. You know the deal. 81 points on New Frontier Rodeo's Eyes of an Angel. Sounds like a song. Tie down roping, we had a tie. Tyler Milligan and Ty Moser. Tyler and Ty with the tie, 9.5 4 seconds. You can't make this up, folks. You just can't. Barrel racing.
I thought you did make that up. That was too good.
That was right on there. I'll show you. Look it up on the PRCA rodeo results. All right, we got barrel racing. Randy Printle, 12.51 tenths. Great time there. And bull riding, last but not least, Big D. We got Justin Woodward, 91 points on Sutton Rodeos. Shot in da. You know, I like that. No kidding. 1989, $72,000 rodeo on a budget rodeo, but good stuff just the same. Not too bad. And I'm not going to do the scores because Islanders didn't do too good tonight. We'll skip the scores tonight. Islanders got
I want to hear the score.
It's like
they got. I know. Rick
answering to himself.
How about those New York Rangers 4-0?
Can you do Taiwanese baseball like when we were during COVID?
Remember that?
Oh my God.
Japanese baseball. One quick story I want to get to. Paul actually mentioned it as well. Keith Olbermann demands ESPN fire Pat McAfee for calling Canada a terrible country.
Biggest story you got.
All right, Dylan Gwynn of Breitbart. Keith Olbermann, perhaps the most fired man. Keith Olbermann, fired. What did I say?
The most fired man in media.
The most fired man in America. Media is calling for ESPN to fire Pat McAfee after the host and WWE analyst called Canada a terrible country over the weekend. McAfee was in Toronto this past weekend for WWE's Elimination Chamber event, watched as the Canadian crowd unleashed a torrent of boos on the Star-Spangled Banner as the night began. These are the most stacked Elimination Chambers that WWE has ever had, McAfee said, while laying out the stacked card. Did you see it, Big D?
I was watching.
You was racked and stacked for this, huh? Kind of sucks that it's in the terrible country of Canada that booed our national anthem to start this entire thing, but it's going to be a historic night for the WWE on the road to WrestleMania.
I was going like this with McAfee.
Yeah, not bad.
You tell him, Pat.
Well, shockingly, Olbermann did not take exception with the anthem booing, but instead lashed out at McAfee, demanding ESPN fire him. Yeah, they want to cancel him.
It's like the mayor in Boston. This knife-wielding attacker goes into a Chick-fil-A. It's going to kill people, and they get shot and killed by an off-duty cop who's got the gun. And guess who she went on TV and was given?
Oh my God, I had that clip.
Given condolences to. No, not the cop, not to the people who were in danger, who could have gotten slashed and killed. No, she was worried about the guy who got killed, the guy with the knife who was going to kill people. Insane. Oh, our condolences out to the person who lost his life tonight. Yeah. This is the mayor of Boston.
Good.
And then the police chief and somebody else was three.
Yeah, they all did it, of course, under her direction. They all follow, toe the line.
Unbelievable.
Crazy.
Ridiculous. Yeah. So,
crazy.
Of course, it went on to talk about, basically you get some expletives, obviously, for Olbermann. But that's neither here nor there, Big D. I'm going to throw it back to you. That's a wrap in sports.
Well, what's here nor there is what happened at the end of the Elimination Chamber. Are you aware?
No. I didn't watch it.
John Cena turned heel.
Oh, wow.
Didn't he do that when he kowtowed to Chinese government?
What?
Turned heel? Remember with Cena?
I was about to say the same thing, yes. He had that movie coming out.
Oh, a movie? I've never seen
No. He was talking about, what do you call it, the patch on Tom Cruise's...
he went full ass kissing to...
you're talking real life?
Yeah, real life.
Oh, okay.
He turned real life heel.
Right. Nothing movies.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Well,
he puckered up to Xi Jinping.
Yes.
Yeah, well...
That's a wrap.
All right. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the promo code to use. Delgado, wrap us up. What's going on in the news?
All right. I got one more clip here from Elon Musk where he channels his inner Milton Friedman as he's talking about how the government spends money with Joe Rogan. Here it is, cut number 8. Check this out.
Like I think Senator Collins was telling me about how she gave the Navy $12 billion for more submarines, got no extra submarines, and then held a hearing to say where'd the $12 billion go, and they were like, we don't know. That was it. Basically, stuff is so crazy. It's only the federal government could get away with this level of waste. Waste. It's mostly waste. It's mostly not fraud. It's mostly waste. It's mostly just ridiculous things happening.
Because they've been able to do it this way for so long, they've become accustomed to it.
Yeah, it's like Milton Friedman said. Money is most poorly spent when you're spending someone else's money on people you don't know. How much are you going to care?
Right.
And that's the federal government.
Yeah. He hits it right on the head.
Mm. I can't get over that other clip of him not wanting to get into. What have they...
Yeah.
You just have to wonder what... if there's anybody that can provide himself with as close to what would be Secret Service full protection You would figure it would be Elon Musk, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would
man
think.
in the world, yeah.
I mean, you would think he'd be able to say, look, I'm going to hire all these guys. Guys, I'm going to let you know right now. If somebody comes at you with money to say, take me out, I will outpay that person, and you know it. So you just tell me that number, and I'll give you even more to make sure he stays alive. But you do see how it's he's kind of got his eyes on a lot of things that people didn't think would ever come to light.
It's true.
But you guys talked about that there won't be any audits of the military-industrial complex. I mean, that's where the money will be saved, though. But, you could easily save $1 trillion a year right there.
Well, didn't Hegseth say that he wants to be able to have completed an audit?
Yep.
So what are you referring to, Paul, when you say they won't, meaning they just will never get it done?
Patrick, you guys were talking about there's no way you could save $1 trillion a year, and he said they would never go after the military-industrial. They said they would never, lower the defense budget. But I think there's a lot of talk that once a little piece starts rolling in, we can cut it in half.
Well, is it the Department of Defense, or there's something coming up where we're supposed to be getting an initial DOGE report on what their initial findings are going into that department? I saw this today. I don't know if it was Musk put it up. Somebody put it up. It may be tomorrow. I don't know if it's defense or state, but I think we're going to get an initial finding from DOGE on a new department. I believe maybe tomorrow.
Okay. Hopefully.
But I could be totally off on that, and who would be surprised by that?
Hey, real quick, Linda McMahon has been confirmed as the new Secretary of the Department of Education by a vote of 51-45.
Nice.
As always, we salute our military, active and active, police, firefighters, first responders, EMTs, everybody on the front lines protecting us. Thanks, guys, on the show. Aaron Frank, great job as always. Most of all, thank you, live from Studio 6B audience. Have a great rest of your night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. right here, live from Studio 6B.